Hello and welcome to The Sting of Time, episode 6. There I was. This is my living room. And here I am. And here you are. My name is Leeloo.
Am I supposed to talk now?
If you want to. What's your name?
My name is Oskar.
We are watching The Scorpion King 52 times in a row. This is watch number 6.
Six times. Have we watched it?
We are watching.
We are watching. And we watched it for the 6th time.
Yes. Maybe I should let you lead on this. I have a somewhat large, I don't know if I want to call it a theory. It might be a fact. But I watched the movie with a very particular set of eyes this time around. So did you do that?
No.
Nope. Well, I guess I'll get on to my theory then.
I think I specifically, I remember saying at the beginning of this watch that, or rather I was proposing, like, is this going to be more of a blank watch? Like you're just going through the motions. And I remember you said something you were going to focus on and I've completely forgotten. And I think
I didn't tell you what it was.
No, maybe that's why I forgot it. But meanwhile, I think endeavored to have a blank watch all by my lonesome instead.
We did watch it with a guest last week, which I think we talked about. At least I talked about how it didn't change the viewing experience that much. When it happened.
No, not really.
But I think post viewing, it has somewhat changed for me. I think it was less taxing. The last watch was less taxing. So this felt sort of like a return to form, even though I will get into it very soon. I had something quite specific that I was thinking about. I've even I got up during the movie and took a note.
You're rather, I won't say dramatically, but in a noteworthy fashion, got up and fetched your notebook and you even proclaimed to anyone within earshot that I have to write this down.
Yes, this is the notebook. There's a bear on the front. On the back, there's 3 people. Which I've drawn ass hair on, so their cheeks are I was about to say bespeckled, but I don't think that's what that means. But I'll get into it. So this viewing, I thought about it for a bit. I started thinking about how fucking dumb the king's plan is. That if they kill the sorcerer, then they automatically win. Because they still have Memnon, who's the best sword fighter to ever have lived, which is a pretty big deal. Who also holds the only defendable fortress and has a large standing army.
Yeah,
so
we talked a bit about in the beginning how they mentioned in the movie how they're like, oh, it's useless to resist Memnon. It's how are we gonna win? And realistically, like in this sort of setting and scenario, they have already lost so long ago because they don't have an army, they don't have any resources of any kind. Like they have already been conquered.
Yes.
So
this is the aftermath.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the starting point. So I thought about that for a bit, but then that led me into, what's the plan here? What's going to happen? And then I thought about how the sorceress, Cassandra, or well, she's technically not Cassandra in this movie, I guess. She's just sorceress. Is probably, she is aware that Matthias is coming to the camp.
Yes.
And she already knows that he is the one that will save her from at least that situation. But my theory here is that the sorceress is the baddie. She's the actual bad guy of the movie. And she has foreseen all the events of this movie. And her reasons for doing this is, well, I don't think she likes Memnon a lot, but I think she wants to be on the throne. But I don't think she can control Memnon. But the Scorpion King, Dwayne, is a fucking moron.
Yes.
He's an idiot. And, you know, I think that's her end goal. And I have some notes here. So the first one is just like everything that happens in the movie is her foreseen path. She tells, I'm pretty sure, you know, we don't know this, but I know this. I think she tells Memnon the Akkadians are coming.
Exactly.
And she makes sure that his brother dies in front of him, so he will have a reason to kill Memnon.
Yeah, it feels like when you consider the entire setup with the camp at the beginning and like the ambush, we have said sometimes that kind of humorously about like, well, are they just waiting here? How do they even do this entire ambush and stuff? But when you put it that way, it makes sense to consider that the sorceress sets it up in that way in order to get this particular series of events unfolding in a very particular way that will create Dwayne.
Yes, exactly. So that's number one. So yeah, she knows Dwayne's brother will die. I wrote this down. And you could say that the way, if she just wanted Memnon dead, she could have just made sure that they infiltrate the camp and kill him instead. But I think she needs Memnon to die in a sort of almost like quasi-spiritual religious way, because he explodes and the entire army's there. They see him explode, fall out, and then they see the Scorpion King with the sorceress, who they already know is sort of a royal figure.
She's really, you know, paraded next to him, like that. Like you'd think it would be like, oh look, Dwayne the hero won the day, but then she's like, I too am here.
Yeah. We talked about how, I just interrupted you here, but we talked about, or you said, it's so weird that they immediately go, hail the king. Hail the king.
Yeah, exactly. Like the second the old king dies, the entire army just, you know, I won't say they surrender, but rather they like swear fealty to the new king. And Dwayne hasn't even like said anything, or Danny hasn't even said, I'm gonna be the king. But it's like they just and it's like, what sort of governance is this? And if I were Dwayne, I wouldn't want to have that army that switch like that.
You said that, and I think in a vacuum it's sort of reasonable, but within my sorceress theory, sorceress theory, they're there and they see this almost, they don't know what black powder is. Nobody knows what the fuck that is.
Only Theoden knows.
Yeah, so it's a huge explosion. He fucking gets launched and falls on top of his, the statue has fallen down. It's very, there's a lot of like iconic energy here, and to me that sort of makes sense, and it also makes sense why the sorceress acts the way she does, because she needs him to die there, and she needs to be present, so it's she is part of this religious startup.
You might bring this up in those notes, I think, but I have to say, it really kind of resonates with how Chestman says to Memnon that, you know, in regards to the sorceress, that a symbol is best
when seen.
Exactly.
Or sorry, a symbol is best when
seen.
I'm sure that will sound really nice. And also, you know, he talks about how she's a symbol that the men derive courage from, you know. I also written down that she doesn't tell Dwayne that she still has powers until after
the very end.
Yeah,
exactly.
So he thinks she's lost the powers after they bone, which is like, why would you do that? But she needs him to come. She needs him to go get him. So that's note number 4, I think. And I also wrote down that I think that Philos is in on this. He's a double agent for the sorceress.
Yeah, it makes sense, because I can see them kind of, you know, getting along in the palace, because they both hate Memnon, and they are both, you know, knowers of the higher arts, or at least Theoden is. I don't know what kind of education the sorceress has,
but she needs him for the plan to work.
Yeah.
And after the desert battle with Thorak, she, I think, immediately leads Dwayne to Philos in the desert. They go and pick him up, basically.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, it is a bit unclear how far out in the desert Theoden is in comparison to where the sandstorm battle takes place.
Yes.
And in even further, in comparison to where the city is, because they travel to the other village.
Yes.
Afterwards.
And here's maybe the most controversial part of the theory, but I've written down, what does she suck out? That's the note I took when I got
that's
up.
what you had to get out.
That's what I had to.
What does she suck out?
What does she suck out? Because I think, I don't know. I feel like he's already getting better by the time she straddles him. Like, it doesn't feel like he's like, oh, I'm dying, and she saves him. It just sort of happens. And I have a theory that maybe she's like taking some sort of like, maybe like she's taking part of his independence, or maybe his intellect, or like, I think she's like she under the guise of, oh, Armpit's here, so he's going to see me do this as well. And she already knows that Dwayne will be good. Oh, the blood of the scorpion will always be in him, blah, blah, blah. Because she's obviously not doing anything with that, right?
No.
So I think she sees that as an opportunity. Oh, he's vulnerable, and I can just have Armpit back me up that I did something good for you. But I think she's like, oh, let's make him a bit worse. So I think what happens post Scorpion King 1, at least in this, it's hard to say what happens in Scorpion King 2, 3, 4, and 5. But I think that, because I know that this is, I'm going to have to rewind it. I know that in The Mummy Returns, Scorpion King, Matthias, is a homicidal maniac. And you never see him in a kingdom. He's always out in the field, and he's waving a sword. And I think she's at home chilling. I think he's basically out on a campaign, and she sets herself up as the ruler of Gomorrah through this.
Exactly. So it's like, if you watch The Mummy, you gotta think like just off screen is the sorceress.
Oh, I think she's at home, so I don't think she's off.
Maybe home is just off screen.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So watching out through the window at Dwayne and being like, that's good. That's right.
And she also plants that seed. She's like, oh, there will be a time of peace, but then
peace doesn't last forever, Dwayne. We gotta. It's 4:00. Time to talk about further war and conquering. Yes, my sorceress.
So that's my theory. What do you think?
Well, I think it has some merit, and because I still kind of feel that of all the characters in the movie, the sorceress feels the most like elusive, or how to say it, and not like necessarily as a part of her characterization, but that it just might be that they didn't know what to do with the sorceress except have her scream and stare at children and have nightmares or whatever. So I welcome the concept of what's called, acute viewers will notice that the frameworks of the sorcerer's plot is there, and I think that we are probably, even by now, the most acute viewers of this movie to have existed.
Yes.
So I think you might be onto something, and it's definitely something I will try and pay attention to as well on further viewings.
I think it as well. It sort of makes it more reasonable that she's just a sorceress. Because that's a villain's name.
Yeah, but it's also that, because that reminds me a bit that she is a sorceress, but she doesn't really do any sorcery. overall in the movie, it's like she's just around, like hanging out, but the actual sorcery she is doing is, the scheme, the like the plot that she has against, and as the viewer, you're thinking like, oh, she hates Memnon, she wants Memnon to die, and wants to use Dwayne to do it. But there's much more.
Yeah.
Under the surface, she, like, when Dwayne enters the tent and she turns around in her cape or whatever, she is already thinking about the mummy.
Yes. She's mentally pieced out of the Scorpion King.
She's already, and then Brendan Fraser is going to show up and is going to shoot his gun, and then she has it all laid out.
Yes. Yeah, I can see that. I think it also, it makes a lot of stuff in the movie make sense, because you could see it as it has to happen in these sort of moronic, convoluted ways, because it makes for good imagery, and imagery is how you rule the populace. And she also like sets up, it's not, the movie isn't really some sort of hero's journey.
No.
But she talks to Matthias as if he's on a hero's journey all the time.
That's a good point, because Matthias is already a hero.
Yeah.
In movies, like Matthias doesn't have really an arc. Like the only thing resembling an arc with Matthias is that I want to kill the sorceress. 5 minutes into the movie, I'm over it.
Yeah.
And now I
know my name.
Yeah. Like that's all it takes. And then he wants to kill Memnon, but for revenge. But there's nothing, like, he doesn't, grow or learn, change some aspects of his character. He is the same.
He should have been. Okay. This is a sneak peek into a future episode where we definitely will rewrite the movie.
Definitely,
100%. Even if we don't want to, it probably will happen. So
definitely.
But the camel should be Yesup's. That's a part of a movie, right? Yes, he is the one who tells his brother, "Why are you still got that stinky thing? Horses are faster." His brother's like, "Oh, but I'm the wiser older brother. Camels are more smart, intelligent." Da, da, da. And then the camel hates him, and then they bond. That's like movie.
They should have built a relationship with the camel and like make it a real part of the movie that the camel hates Dwayne because it was his brother's camel, and he just hated Dwayne for no reason.
And then in the end, where he uses the camel as he has to use the camel
when it's rappelling down.
Yeah, exactly. Like then he could be calling for the camel, and it could be like a moment where the camel actually
because the camel has, started to believe in the Dwayne that believes in me, or something like that.
There's lots of stuff like that, I think, in the movie where you could do like a slight tweak, and it would turn into like an actual real movie. It would still probably not be good, but it would be more of an actual movie.
It isn't really much of an actual movie.
No.
I said when we watched it this time that, and I prefaced this with like, I'm not joking. I am saying something serious now, which is very important to do, and that when you watch a movie, and we haven't really scratched the surface yet, but when you watch a movie several times, once a week, you start to really. Are you dying?
No.
Okay. You start to really appreciate how much stuff goes into making a movie, and a lot of little details that you don't notice. And I think that appreciation will be very short-lived, but it was there this time.
Yes.
When I watched it.
It's funny though, because we talked about that in the beginning, where Matthias drops his bow in the tent, and we went, this is where he gets the bow.
Oh, dude, he drops the bow here. I never thought about it. Then he uses the bow like 5 million more times in the movie, and we don't notice it. And then you said, wait, is this where he gets the bow back? But he's just used it for like every scene.
Yeah.
So, but that's,
he basically loses his bow like 3 times in the movie or something. So having this mental acuity to actually watch the movie doesn't necessarily improve.
No, it can definitely just muddle the movie as well. I was thinking a bit that maybe we should try and pay attention to is there more than one bow in the movie? Like, does Dwayne have 2 bows?
Oh, is it a difference?
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
bow?
exactly. Or are we actually following Chekhov's bow, as we have called it, the entire movie? Because
it's funny to call it Chekhov's bow, because that would imply that it is not used but is present. But it's just hella used instead.
Yeah, but I think we don't particularly take into account what, phrases and the stuff mean. We just use them anyway. So
yes.
But yeah, that would be something to look out for, because when he stands with Armpit next to the candle and he's like, getting his weapons in order rather early in the movie, then he has a bow because Armpit takes it up and out of his sheath or whatever it is, his backpack. And
but we were musing that maybe that's a second bow.
Exactly, like that's a reserve bow or something. But that's I'm not sure we are correct.
It is definitely the same prop. I'm just gonna say it. It's the same bow, but in universe maybe it's not. Maybe he just has 2 pristine Acadian bows plus 5. Requires strength 2 million.
Requires strength more than
not usable by class bow.
Exactly.
Funnily enough. I almost forgot this. About 2 weeks ago, The Scorpion King turned 20 years old, the movie.
Wow.
The 19th of April.
That's incredible.
I think we did a podcast maybe that day or the day after, but we didn't mention it, so I figured we should mention it. The movie is 20 years old.
Happy belated birthday to The Scorpion King, the movie.
You could probably insert I could probably insert some country where you could legally fuck The Scorpion King, the movie now. Age of consent 20. Maybe it's like Botswana or something.
I didn't like how you said you and then
what?
I didn't understand.
I don't think you are gonna edit this.
Oh, right. No, I won't. I thought you were like you wouldn't be able to found a country or whatever. And like, what are you talking
you
about?
don't even know which age.
You could never be Scorpion King, Oskar. You're just a scorpion or a regular king.
Yes. But it's 20 years old. I think I had something else as well. We haven't also... This isn't it's not a great segue. I don't think it's going to make for an amazing punchline. But a thing I always forget to mention on the podcast is the fact that the subtitles of the movie...
Yeah, we watched it without subtitles.
Yeah. That's noteworthy. First of all, what did you think about the non-subtitled run?
I thought it was pretty good. I always prefer having subtitles when I watch movies, but when I've watched the same movie many, many times already, I already know what everyone is gonna say. So it became more. The movie became a bit bigger, and you got to see a bit more what went on.
Yes.
Down here
you get a clean view of the meat, for example.
Yeah, the meat that they throw to the tigers.
Yes, and then gets back.
Exactly.
But the subtitles for the movie are really weird.
Yeah, they are.
In that
we've had some different subtitles, I think, when we watched.
Yes, I think the first time around maybe you had different subtitles.
Yeah, exactly.
Than me, but I've been on the same ones. But for example, the name Cassandra shows up in the subtitles.
Yeah.
But the name of the kid, who's never named at all, is Tutu in the subtitles, and I think he's like miscreant or something. Street urchin is probably his name in the actual credits. But in the subtitles, he's Tutu, and that's the name of the actor.
Yeah, that's his real name.
Yeah, they just put the name of the actor in the subtitles. So there's probably more of that in there.
That makes me kind of want to watch the movie, and they just put the name of the actors in every subtitle. Like it just says Dwayne instead of Matthias, and Theoden instead of Philos. Philos.
King.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said.
Yeah. So that's the second thing. But now I've said it, I don't have to think about saying it anymore, which is good. I think that is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it. I feel.
Oh yeah, how do you feel?
Yeah, we gotta talk about emotional states. I feel rather serene this time because I haven't said so much this entire. I feel like I've been mostly quiet when we watched it, and now I'm talking a lot, so that's a bit of a juxtaposition for me. But I'd say I feel a bit serene and calm, like watching it blank, like I blanked out my mind. I also sat a bit differently this time. I sat
I saw you moved around a bit.
I sat on the couch.
I think you were in like a fetal position for a while.
I think
maybe that happened after I mentioned Lordi,
exactly,
the metal band.
Exactly.
Band.
That might have happened. I might have blanked that one out. But I sat on the couch. The people can't see this, but there's a couch which is notoriously less comfortable than either chair 1 or chair 2.
Well, that's debatable. But
yeah, exactly. And I was considering, I was feeling a bit that I'm gonna test that. So I sat on the couch and tried some different positions on the couch. And it worked out. It worked out rather well. I had the sun in my eye quite a lot though, but it didn't bother me that much because I wasn't really
paying attention.
Yeah, since I was blanking out, I think it wasn't that much of a deal. But yeah, serene, calm. Mostly, I don't feel like I felt a lot of the other viewings where I've been more morose and do me about it.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
What was your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part of the movie was very early, and I tried to remember it the entire watch this time. But it's there is a guy in the intro scene when he's fighting the Not Vikings around like the lower right corner of a particular part where there's this guy with a beard, and he watches Dwayne's brother when he's like crucified or whatever, and he just does like this face, like it's like, that's no good, that is nope,
because my brother will not,
that's no good, that is
will not,
nope. And I'd never seen him before, and I really enjoyed his little part, which I think is the only thing he does in the movie. He doesn't even appear like in the fights or anything.
That's great.
Yeah, I like that.
All new things are great.
What,
in the Scorpion King, at least.
How is your emotional state?
I think I'm doing fine. I'm really enjoying standing again.
Yeah, we're standing. There's big
yes.
standing.
You can see here's my foot.
We're not standing alone. We are standing a two.
Yes, unless you could be standing alone together.
Yeah.
As a unit, but I guess that would it doesn't work. The lyric is I stand alone. It isn't we. But yes, I'm enjoying standing. I noticed how I wasn't feeling like myself when I sat down for.
I was kind of expecting you to stand for the movie, but I didn't say anything about it because I didn't want to like imprint some sort of suggestion.
Yes, but I'm standing now, so that's
yes.
great. So I think I'm feeling large, tall.
Large and tall.
Yes, those are my two. They're
emotional states.
Yes. I think you can feel large. That's emotional.
I think we're gonna run out of emotions anyway, so they'll have to become more abstract.
I would probably, well, I guess to me the sorcerer's thing is it's possibly a big swing for my watching, but
you have a lot of new things to look for now.
Yes, but having said that, I think this watch was mostly uneventful for me. It was I feel like we're kind of in the flow now. Yeah. It's kind of rote. So I think tall and large. It's most of my feelings are now. It wasn't that much in the movie. I think we talked more than we ever have in the actual movie.
Yeah, I kind of felt that. That's interesting because I felt that.
Jag tror att den har slutat spela in.
Aha.
I think we might have lost 4 or 5 seconds of footage, but that doesn't matter.
No,
because I've been sort of
you pressed the button.
Press the button again.
But yeah, I was saying that since you said that we talked more than ever during the movie.
Yes,
I can definitely see that now that I think back a bit. But I had this like sensation the entire time that I'm like, I just don't want to say anything. I just want to watch or not watch the movie. but I think I might have gotten like subconsciously bored of that.
Autopilot.
Yeah,
talk.
exactly. So instead of like autopilot blanking, it just became autopilot talking.
Yes, probably.
Yes.
It wasn't. We didn't talk about anything of any matter.
No.
My favorite part of the movie this time around was when old King Conan says, "Be quiet."
Be quiet!
To his son.
That was good.
It's always good, but this time it was easily the best thing because everything else in the movie that has been good is now way worse.
Yeah, it's not good anymore.
Yes. So that was still good because I don't know. He has there's something in his energy where it's almost like I forget what he's gonna say.
It's like when he says it, you kind of get the feeling that he's gonna say it more like be quiet.
Yeah.
But it's like he walks in, it's like
Be quiet!
Yeah, it's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You said at some point, he goes when he's talking to
No mortal can defeat Memnon.
that guy. He goes. The line after is like, "And if we were to kill the sorcerer," but there's a long pause, so it sounds a bit like it just goes, "And?"
No mortal can defeat Memnon. And?
Yeah, and I said it would be a much better line delivery if he just said like "and" like that meme or whatever, like okay and guy. So.
That's those are our thoughts. This was viewing number 6. An okay viewing, I think.
Yeah. We are now over halfway.
Do you know? I have some great news. Last episode, I said viewing number 4 was 5%, but that's wrong. My math was off. It was actually 7.5, which means that this viewing and during this podcast, we actually went over 5.2 watches. So we're actually over 10% now.
Yeah, I was going to say we are now over halfway on the way to having watched Scorpion King double digits amount of times.
Yes.
That's I feel like that would be a rather
that's big. Probably gonna be big.
That's gonna be a big deal.
But this was double digits in percent.
This was the biggest deal yet.
Yes. It's just gonna get bigger.
Mathematically, true.
Larger and larger until it engulfs everything.
Larger and taller.
Yes. With that, goodbye.